The Generals of the Yang Family, Chapter 39.
We're looking at a monumental, world-shifting conflict from the classic Chinese historical saga, The Generals of the Yang Family.
It's such a dense text.
Oh, incredibly dense.
Yeah.
And we're dropping you right into the middle of this massive, brutal collision between the Song dynasty and the Liao dynasty.
Often referred to as the Northern Fan in the sources, yeah.
Right, the Northern Fan. So on one side, you have the formidable Liao forces commanded by Empress Xiao.
A truly terrifying tactician.
And on the other, the Song forces, spearheaded by the legendary, incredibly resilient Yang family.
The quintessential military family.
Exactly. We're going to explore how divine intervention, intricate family dynamics, devastating military tactics, and high-stakes political espionage all just crash into one another.
And it creates this wild situation where the greatest threat to an empire isn't the enemy army they just defeated.
Right. It's the peace they think they just won.
Which is such a mind-bending concept.
Yeah.
If you really understand the stakes here, you have to look at the psychology of the battlefield.
Yeah.
And specifically, how that psychology just morphs the exact moment the blood dries. We're looking at the mechanics of total war and how the consequences of that mobilization ripple outward.
Exposing the vulnerabilities of the very leaders who ordered the war in the first place.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's put you right on the front lines. The Song forces, led by Commander Yang Zongbao, are standing at the absolute climax of this multi-generational war.
The tension is just unbelievable at this point.
Right, because the Liao dynasty has constructed this sprawling, seemingly impenetrable military configuration called the 72 Heavenly Gate Array.
And it has just been an absolute meat grinder.
Yeah, the Song forces have been slowly dismantling it piece by piece, and now they're down to the final, most terrifying defensive formations Empress Xiao has left.
The 7 fairy maidens and the 4 gates heavenly kings.
So when we talk about an array or a formation, I think people picture like a simple line of soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder, right?
Yeah, like an 18th century musket line or something. But it is crucial not to picture that.
Right.
These are incredibly complex, moving puzzles made of human bodies, shields, interlocking spears, cavalry tracks.
And psychological warfare too, right?
Oh, absolutely. They were designed to completely overwhelm the senses. You have gongs crashing everywhere,
Yeah.
flags waving in specific patterns to direct troop movements, dust kicking up to obscure your vision. To break an array like the Heavenly Gate wasn't just about overwhelming force.
It was like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while someone is punching you in the face.
That is a perfect way to put it. You're solving a lethal, dynamic equation in real time while thousands of people are actively trying to kill you.
Okay, let's unpack this because Zongbao approaches this final problem with a level of specificity that is honestly just breathtaking.
He really does.
He doesn't just order a massive frontal assault, wave after wave of bodies throwing themselves at the Liao shields.
That would have been suicide.
Exactly. He looks at the 7 fairy maidens array and the 4 gates heavenly kings array, and he deploys highly specialized commanders for each specific target.
It's like a high-stakes game of chess where every single piece has a designated counter-move.
Right. So to break the 7 fairy maidens, he sends in a vanguard coalition composed entirely of female warriors.
8th sister, 9th sister, Huang Kongnu, and Mu Gaiying.
And then to shatter the 4 gates heavenly kings, he sends in Yang, 5th brother, who is a man who actually took Buddhist vows and lives as a monk.
Which is wild.
It is. So why is it so significant that the vanguard consists almost entirely of female warriors and a monk?
Well, the deployment reveals everything you need to know about the state of the Song dynasty at this exact moment.
How so?
You're looking at the absolute zenith of what sociologists would call total familial mobilization. See, in a conventional peacetime societal structure, there are very rigid roles. The men of the military class fight, the women manage the estate or participate in court politics.
Right, and the monks retreat to the mountains.
Exactly, to pray for the souls of the living and the dead. But when an empire is pushed to the absolute brink of annihilation, those rigid peacetime structures just disintegrate.
They just fall apart.
Completely. The Yang family isn't just dipping into their reserve troops here. They are weaponizing their entire family tree.
So society basically breaks down and survival takes over.
Yes. The fact that the vanguard of the most important military push in the history of their dynasty relies on women and a monk tells you that the traditional military apparatus has either failed or been entirely exhausted.
Oh.
It also shows a profound philosophical commitment from the Yang family. I mean, when the state demands blood, they do not hesitate to offer everyone they have.
Right. The traditional boundaries of gender and, religious pacifism are just suspended.
Because the alternative is the destruction of their entire world.
And that desperation translates into this overwhelming, devastating kinetic energy on the battlefield.
It's an unstoppable force.
The female coalition crashes into the Seven Fairy Maidens array and absolutely decimates it. Like, they don't just push the line back, they completely obliterate the command structure.
They kill the Dugu princess and 7 other high-ranking Liao commanders in rapid succession. It's incredibly fast.
Yeah, and simultaneously, Yang's fifth brother, the monk, rips through the 4 gates heavenly kings. He takes down commanders Yilu Shang and Yilu Qi.
You can practically hear the Liao formations shattering. It's a total, irrecoverable collapse.
And what you see next is just the fragility of absolute power. I mean, Empress Xiao has spent this entire conflict as this untouchable, terrifying figure of authority.
She commands hundreds of thousands of men.
Right. But the moment those 2 final arrays break, her power just evaporates.
They're gone in an instant.
She realizes the lines are gone, and her immediate instinct is to call for her top advisor, strategist Lu Gu. She needs a new plan, a way to regroup.
But General Han Yanshu turns to her and delivers literally the worst possible news. He tells her strategist Lu is simply gone.
Just vanished.
Vanished the moment the lines broke.
Wow. So what does that say about her leadership?
Well, strategist Lu's disappearance is a masterclass in the ruthless pragmatism of warfare. Loyalty in a war of conquest is often completely tethered to momentum.
Oh, that makes sense.
As long as Empress Xiao had the impenetrable array, she had absolute loyalty.
Right, because everyone felt safe behind it.
Exactly. The second the physical protection of the army vanishes, the political and personal loyalty of her advisors vanishes right along with it. She is left totally exposed.
So she's forced to flee the battlefield in this tiny, nondescript cart.
Which is such a striking image.
It really is. I mean, this is the ruler of the massive Liao dynasty, a woman who commanded a military machine that terrified the Song for years.
And now she's taking back roads with just 2 generals.
Yeah, Han Yanshu and Yilu Suigu just desperately trying to outrun the Song pursuit. The whiplash from supreme commander to desperate fugitive happens in a matter of minutes.
And that speed of collapse is what makes the ensuing reality so difficult to process. The adrenaline of the tactical victory, the brilliant deployments by Zongbao, the thrill of breaking the unbreakable array, all of that is intoxicating. But war is fundamentally an engine of destruction. And the bill for that destruction always comes due the moment the fighting stops.
Right. The aftermath is where the narrative forces you to stop cheering and start staring at the true cost of this battle.
Because the numbers are just staggering.
400,000 Liao soldiers are killed.
Yeah.
That number is almost impossible to conceptualize. You're talking about the population of a moderately sized modern city being wiped off the face of the earth.
The ground is literally soaked in blood. The sources say the bodies are piled into artificial hills.
It's horrifying. An army of that size doesn't just disappear, it basically becomes a geographical feature.
Right. The logistics of dealing with 400,000 corpses are insurmountable. They become a permanent scar on the landscape. And the narrative actually pauses right in the middle of this massive historical turning point to acknowledge that scar.
Yeah, there's a poem dropped right into the description of the carnage, which is fascinating.
It is.
It jumps forward in time, imagining a traveler 100 years later riding through this very plain.
Right.
The traveler stops their horse, looks out as the evening sun hits these mountains of white bones that are still there a century later, and feels this profound, overwhelming sorrow.
It's such a snark pivot in the tone of the text.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because you go from this hyperkinetic energy of swords breaking shields to a quiet, mournful meditation on the permanence of death.
It forces the reader and the citizens of the victorious empire to grapple with the psychic weight of their own survival.
Yeah.
The poem doesn't celebrate the bones as trophies of the Song dynasty. It mourns them as a monument to human tragedy.
It's a striking moment of empathy.
It really is. The narrative is acknowledging that while the Yang family's cause was righteous and necessary for survival, the human cost paid by the Liao soldiers is still a horrorscape.
And the tension between military necessity and human tragedy plays out so vividly in the capture of Han Yanshu.
Oh, definitely.
This is the Liao general who fled with Empress Xiao. Yeah. General Zhao Zhen tracks him down, chases him, and demands his surrender.
They clash briefly, but it's pretty one-sided.
Yeah, Han Yanshu is captured, dragged back to the Song camp, and thrown down in front of Commander Zhang Bao.
And his presence in that tent is highly symbolic, because earlier in the conflict, this was a man whose ego literally took up all the oxygen in the room.
Right, he was insufferable.
He boasted constantly about being the greatest hero of the North. He was the loud, aggressive voice of Liao's superiority. He really embodied the idea that martial prowess makes you invincible.
But kneeling in front of Zhang Bao, surrounded by the army that just annihilated his people, Han Yanshu is entirely silent.
Not a word.
And Zhang Bao actually actively mocks him. He leans in and asks where all that boasting went, why the great hero of the North is sitting in the dirt as a prisoner.
And Han Yanshu doesn't offer a defense.
He doesn't hurl insults, he doesn't beg for his life, he just keeps his head bowed.
Yeah.
So Zhang Bao decides there is no utility in keeping him alive and just orders him taken outside and beheaded immediately.
The silence of Han Yanshu is literally the sound of an ego breaking against reality.
Wow. Yeah.
He has seen the 400,000 dead. He has seen his empress flee in a peasant cart. His entire worldview, which was built on the myth of his own invincibility, has been completely dismantled.
Right.
So his refusal to speak isn't just stubbornness. It's the quiet acceptance of a man who understands that his era is over. The summary execution is brutal, but it's the logical conclusion to the collapse of the Liao military machine.
Yet, while that incredibly grounded, gritty execution is happening, something wildly supernatural occurs.
Yes, the tonal shift here is wild.
The mysterious Taoist Zhong, a strategist who had been instrumental in helping the Song forces navigate the battlefield, suddenly vanishes. Just poof, gone.
Right into thin air.
And Zhang Bao realizes in that moment that Taoist Zhong wasn't just a clever tactician, he was the immortal Han Zhanli in disguise.
An actual deity from the heavens was walking among them.
Guiding their hands. So how should you process this blend of gritty war reporting and mythology?
Well, you're looking at two opposing realities occupying the exact same space.
Okay.
On one hand, you have the cold, mechanical reality of a prisoner of war being decapitated outside a tent. On the other, you have divine revelation. And this duality is a vital piece of ancient political technology.
Political technology, wait, how does an immortal vanishing function as a political tool?
Because of the 400,000 bones.
Oh.
Right. If you're a ruler or a general, and you have just orchestrated the deaths of nearly 500,000 human beings, you need a justification that transcends human geopolitics.
Because it's just too much blood.
Exactly. You cannot simply say, we killed them because we wanted their land, or even, we killed them because they tried to kill us. The psychic burden is just too heavy for the populace to bear.
I see.
By revealing that an immortal was orchestrating the victory, the narrative reframes the slaughter. It tells the soldiers and the citizens that this wasn't just a border dispute, it was a cosmic mandate.
The heavens themselves descended to ensure the Song dynasty prevailed.
Yes, the violence is retroactively sanctioned by the universe.
It provides a divine stamp of approval on a sea of blood. It basically says, don't look at the carnage as a tragedy, look at it as the will of heaven.
Precisely.
But the inclusion of the poem about the traveler weeping over the bones proves the text refuses to let the divine mandate entirely sanitize the human cost.
It's a brilliant, uneasy balance. The gods may have wanted the victory, but humans still have to live with the ghosts.
And living with the ghost requires securing the future so the violence wasn't for nothing. Which brings us to the crucial strategic crossroads following the battle.
Right, because now the real political game begins.
The Yang family generals are exhausted, but they are also staring at the greatest opportunity in the history of their empire. Yang's sixth brother, who operates as the central strategic mind of the family, surveys the situation.
He sees the whole board.
He sees the shattered arrays, the fleeing empress, the complete lack of organized Liao resistance. He understands the mechanics of momentum.
Very much so.
So he immediately drafts a report to Emperor Zhenzong. He details the overwhelming victory, but he doesn't just send a status update. He sends a plea for action.
Because Sixth Brother's mindset is that of a pure field commander. He operates on the principle that an enemy allowed to retreat is an enemy that will inevitably return.
Right. You do not leave a wounded predator in the forest to heal.
Exactly.
His pitch to the emperor is essentially, we have broken the lock on the front door. The house is empty. Let's march your imperial chariot straight into Yuzu, the Liao heartland.
Let's finish this.
Let's capture Empress Xiao before she can regroup, seize their territories permanently, and secure peace for 10,000 generations. It is the decisive finishing blow.
And tactically, it is the only mathematically sound way to end a multi-generational war. You limit the capacity of the enemy to wage it.
Okay, so Emperor Zhenzong reads this report. He holds the key to ending the existential threat to his empire forever. And his response is to hit the brakes completely.
It's maddening.
He rejects the plan. He tells Sixth Brother, the troops have been fighting a long time. They are fatigued. We need to rest and secure our current foundation. Leave a holding force at Nine Dragon Valley, pack up the rest of the army, and return to the capital.
To a field commander, that order is incomprehensible.
Wait, they just wiped out the enemy's main force? Why hit the brakes now? It's active self-sabotage.
Yes, it feels that way.
Imagine watching a championship game. One team is absolutely dominating. They're up by 30 points in the third quarter. The opponent is demoralized. Their defense has completely collapsed. Their star players are injured. And the winning coach suddenly calls a timeout and tells his team, you know what? You guys look tired. Let's just stop trying to score. Let's just jog in place for the entire fourth quarter.
It makes zero sense in that context.
Right. By refusing to press the advantage, you are handing the opponent the most valuable resource in any conflict: time. You're giving them time to breathe, time to strategize, time to realize they aren't dead yet.
The sports analogy works perfectly for the mechanics of momentum. But to understand the emperor's decision, we actually have to shift from the mechanics of sports to the mechanics of, like, corporate buyouts, or more accurately, regime survival.
Okay, regime survival.
You have to look at the deep, systemic civil-military divide. Emperor Zhenzong is not a field commander. He is a monarch. And monarchs operate on a completely different risk matrix than generals.
But how does letting the enemy escape lower his risk?
Because the enemy is only one of the threats to his throne. The other threat is his own military. Think about the political reality Emperor Zhenzong is facing. The Yang family has just achieved the impossible. They have mythological levels of prestige right now.
Right, the soldiers worship them, the common people idolize them.
Exactly. If Zhenzong allows Yang's sixth brother to march into Yuzhou, capture the empress, and annex the entire Liao dynasty, whose victory is that?
It's the Yang family's victory.
Yeah.
They become the saviors of the world.
Exactly. They become so powerful, so universally beloved, that they completely eclipse the throne itself.
Oh.
In the imperial mindset, a general who conquers a rival empire is only one step away from deciding he should run his own empire. A decisive total victory makes the military obsolete as a defensive tool, but infinitely dangerous as a domestic political force.
So by halting the advance, Emperor Zhenzong ensures the Liao remain a weakened but viable threat.
Yes. As long as the Liao exists, the emperor needs the Yang family to guard the borders, keeping them occupied and dependent on his patronage. He is choosing a manageable foreign threat over an uncontrollable domestic hero.
He is artificially extending the war to maintain his own internal political leverage. That is breathtakingly cynical.
It is the ultimate cynical move.
And you see that cynicism play out in the way he handles the victorious return to the capital, Bianjing. The army marches in, and it's this massive spectacle.
The whole city comes out.
The emperor holds a grand court to publicly acknowledge the victory. He calls Yang's sixth brother forward and just showers him in absolute luxury. He gives him 2 suits of gold armor, 2 pristine white horses, and 12 carts of fine silk.
It is an overwhelming display of imperial gratitude, or, if you look closer, an overwhelming display of imperial control.
Sixth brother sees right through it, though. He stands in the center of the court, staring at all this gold and silk, and his immediate instinct is to refuse it.
He tries to deflect.
Yeah, he tells the emperor, "This wasn't my singular achievement. The entire coalition of generals risked their lives. My family cannot accept this singular grace."
But the emperor refuses the refusal.
He insists sixth brother take the items, framing it as a minor token of his heavenly favor.
Sixth brother's attempt to decline is a pure survival reflex. He understands the danger he is in. He knows that accepting massive, singular rewards isolates him from his fellow commanders.
Because it breeds jealousy among the other generals who bled just as much.
Precisely. And it confirms the emperor's paranoia that the Yang family is accumulating too much wealth and status.
So it's a trap. If he takes it eagerly, he looks ambitious. If he refuses it completely, he insults the emperor.
Exactly. The emperor is applying golden handcuffs. By forcing sixth brother to accept the wealth, the emperor is publicly establishing the hierarchy.
Right.
He is saying, I am the source of your prosperity. You may have won the battle, but I hold the keys to your status. remember your place in the food chain.
But sixth brother is forced to take the gold, and he immediately neutralizes the political poison attached to it.
It's a brilliant counter move.
He takes the wealth back to the Yang family estate, the Wuning mansion, and immediately throws a massive banquet for all the generals. He redistributes the goodwill. He uses the emperor's wealth to cement his own alliances and prove to his peers that he isn't hoarding the glory.
The Wuning Mansion banquet is one of the most sociologically rich scenes we have discussed.
Yeah.
It operates as the airlock between the blood and mud of the battlefield and the silk and whispers of the capital.
Yeah.
It is a moment of celebration, but it is also a physical manifestation of how the war has fundamentally rewired their society.
The visual layout of this banquet is striking, and the narrative spends a lot of time describing exactly where everyone is sitting. It is not random.
Not at all.
At the very center of the hall, in the seats of absolute highest honor, you have the elders, Shi Taijun, the matriarch also known as Yang Lingpo, Chai Taijun, and Yang's sixth brother. They form the anchor. Then, branching off to the left, you have 20 male generals, including famous commanders like Zhong Bao and Yu Sheng. And branching off to the right, you have 20 female generals, including Wu Ying, Wang Kongnu, and Princess Dun Yang.
What's fascinating here is if you pause and look at that seating chart, you are looking at a radical disruption of conventional imperial hierarchy.
How so?
Well, in a peacetime aristocratic setting, the seating arrangements are dictated by strict rules of gender, age, and proximity to the throne. Women of the household would not be seated in the main hall of a military banquet in equal numbers, occupying equal space with the vanguard commanders.
But they're sitting there now because the peacetime rules burned down in the Heavenly Gate array.
Exactly. This layout is the physical embodiment of a meritocracy forged in blood. The women sitting on the right side of that hall are the exact same women who rode headfirst into the 7 fairy maidens array.
They shattered the enemy lines. They killed the Liao commanders.
Right, because they participated equally in the extreme violence and sacrifice required to save the state, they demand and receive equal physical space and honor in the celebratory hall. The Yang family honors utility and sacrifice above all else.
So what does this all mean for the family dynamic? It's a beautiful image of unity, but the banquet doesn't remain a simple celebration.
No, it takes a turn.
Amidst the food, the wine, and the soldiers performing ceremonial sword dances, this massive shift occurs. Yang, fifth brother, the monk who broke the 4 gates Heavenly King's array, stands up from the table.
The room must have gone completely quiet.
He addresses his mother, the matriarch, and he delivers his resignation. He says, "My Buddhist vows remain unfulfilled. I am overjoyed my brother has achieved this great merit for the state, but remaining in the army serves no purpose for me now. Today, I leave my mother and my sister to return to Wutai Mountain. I am going back to my life as a monk."
It is a moment that completely redefines the concept of duty within the narrative. We just spent time analyzing how Emperor Zhenzong views duty as a mechanism of control, rewarded with gold armor and silk to keep his generals compliant.
And sixth brother views duty as an endless burden. He carries the weight of the family and the borders constantly.
But fifth brother represents a third path. He embodies the profound tension between earthly obligation and personal enlightenment. When his family was facing total annihilation, his earthly duty, his filial piety activated.
He put down his prayer beads, picked up his weapons, and committed horrific violence because the survival of his bloodline required it. He stepped into the karma of the battlefield.
But the second the immediate existential threat is neutralized, the obligation is fulfilled, the contract is complete.
Yes, and his ability to walk away is what makes him so unique. Think about what he's leaving on the table. He is a victorious commander in a war that just saved the empire.
He could have had anything.
Titles, vast estates, endless wealth, immense political power. He's standing at the absolute summit of worldly success.
But he recognizes that those rewards are just anchors. They tie you to the cycle of violence, the paranoia of the emperor, and the endless scheming of the court. He chooses spiritual peace over imperial glory.
And his mother's reaction validates that choice. She doesn't scream at him. She doesn't beg him to stay and help guard the borders. She doesn't guilt him about the family's needs.
He just understands.
She simply acknowledges his fundamental nature. She says, going or staying is up to your own judgment. She recognizes that true duty isn't just a lifetime of servitude to the state. It is also having the wisdom to know when your specific violent utility is no longer required.
With fifth brother returning to the mountain, the Yang family begins to disperse. The banquet ends, The emperor officially orders sixth brother back to his post, guarding the three passes, and places Zongbao in charge of inspecting the military forces in the capital.
So the borders are reinforced. The heroes are in position. It creates the illusion that the Song dynasty is finally secure.
An illusion that is about to be shattered without a single sword being drawn.
Because while the Yang family was fighting for their lives in the mud, and while the emperor was busy putting golden handcuffs on his generals, a rot had been quietly spreading at the very top of the civilian government.
The ultimate betrayal.
We are shifting now from the deafening noise of the battlefield to the quiet, terrifying world of high-level espionage. We are introduced to Wang Shumi, a man more commonly known as Wang Qin.
Wang Qin is the manifestation of the emperor's worst vulnerabilities. He is a high-ranking official, a privy councillor.
Which means he isn't just a bureaucrat. He operates in the inner sanctum of the Song government.
He has direct, daily access to the emperor. He reads the intelligence reports, he knows troop movements, and he's entirely owned by the Liao dynasty.
He is the ultimate sleeper agent.
Yeah.
And the detail that makes this so mind-bending is his timeline. He hasn't been working for the Liao for a few months. He's been embedded in the Song court for 18 years.
The psychological endurance required to maintain a cover for almost 2 decades is staggering.
It completely changes how you view espionage. I mean, we are conditioned by movies to think of spies as people constantly stealing microfilms, assassinating targets in dark alleys, or blowing up bridges.
Right, James Bond stuff?
But Wang Qin did none of that. For 18 years, he was a ghost. He just woke up, put on his Song official robes, attended meetings, flattered the emperor, collected his salary. He waited.
Because acting too soon is how you get caught. A sleeper agent's value isn't in constant low-level sabotage. Their value is in surviving until the exact moment the enemy infrastructure is most vulnerable and then delivering a single fatal blow.
I think the best way to understand Wang Qin is to look at modern cybersecurity.
Oh, that's an interesting angle.
Think of him as a zero-day exploit, a piece of malicious code written by a hacker and injected deep into a company's server. For years, the code just sits there, dormant. It doesn't steal data, it doesn't slow down the network, so the antivirus software never detects it.
Right, it's invisible.
The network administrators, the Yang family, are focused on building massive firewalls to keep external hackers, the Liao army, out. And they do a great job. They defeat the Liao army. But the moment the company executives think they are perfectly safe, they lower their internal security protocols.
Ah, I see.
That is when the dormant code activates, bypasses the firewall entirely, and takes over the entire operating system from the inside.
That is precisely what happens here. Empress Shao tried to hack the Song dynasty with military force, and she was deflected by the Yang family firewall. So Wang Qin activates, he bypasses the military entirely, and targets the human operating system. Emperor Zhenzong.
Wang Qin watches the Liao army get destroyed. He knows Emperor Xiao is on the run. He knows this is the moment. He requests a private audience with the emperor and delivers a masterfully crafted pitch.
It's so manipulative.
He says, "Your Majesty, the North has suffered a devastating defeat. Their armies are broken. They must be trembling in fear of your heavenly majesty. I humbly beg you to allow them to formally surrender so we can secure the borders and prevent any future disasters."
Look at the architecture of that lie. It is brilliant because it is built entirely out of things the emperor already desperately wants to believe.
Right.
Notice that Wang Qin isn't suggesting the Song give up territory or pay tribute. That would arouse suspicion. Instead, he flatters the emperor's ego. He credits the emperor's heavenly majesty, not the Yang family's blood, for terrifying the enemy.
He is exploiting the emperor's laziness. We discussed earlier how the emperor refused to let sixth brother march on Yuzhou because he didn't want the risk or fatigue of a prolonged campaign. The emperor wanted an easy, clean resolution.
Exactly. Wang Qin is offering the emperor a bloodless absolute victory on a silver platter. He is saying, you don't need to send your scary generals out anymore. You won. Let me just go pick up the trophy. He weaponizes the emperor's lethargy and vanity.
And the emperor swallows it whole. He is overjoyed. He praises Wang Qin for his loyalty and foresight. He immediately appoints Wang Qin, along with a totally innocent official named Zhu Fu, to travel into Liao territory to negotiate and accept this massive surrender.
This assignment kicks off a sequence of movements that exposes just how fragile the Song security apparatus truly is, even when they have the right intelligence.
Wang Qin and Zhu Fu pack their bags and head for the border. But Wang Qin faces a massive logistical nightmare. To get into Liao territory quickly, The main road goes straight through the three passes.
Which is a problem.
And who is the commanding officer guarding the three passes? Yang's sixth brother, the most paranoid, battle-hardened general in the empire.
And Sixth Brother isn't just sitting there blindly. The internal intelligence network of the Song dynasty is actually functioning.
Yeah.
The eighth prince, a powerful royal ally of the Yang family, has intercepted whispers. He realizes Wang Qin is a traitor and sends an urgent message to Sixth Brother. Wang Qin is compromised. He is heading your way. Do not let him cross the border.
So Sixth Brother sets a trap. He has his patrols locked down the region. If Wang Qin rides through those gates, he will be arrested and executed.
He's walking into a buzzsaw.
Wang Qin realizes the danger as they approach the region. He knows Sixth Brother will check everyone coming through. So Wang Qin executes a ruthless, improvised diversion.
He utilizes his innocent travel companion.
Right. Wang Qin stops his horse, pats his saddlebags, and fakes a panic attack. He turns to Zhu Fu and says, "This is a disaster. I left some incredibly important, highly sensitive diplomatic documents back at my estate in the capital.
Right.
I cannot negotiate the surrender without them."
So smooth.
Listen, you keep going. Take the main road through the three passes so we don't lose time. I will take a detour, swing back via the Yellow River in Taiwan, grab the documents, and catch up with you in Liao territory.
It is cold-blooded. Wang Qin is fully aware that by sending Zhu Fu through the three passes alone, he is sending him straight into a meat grinder.
Zhu Fu, completely oblivious to the fact that he's traveling with a spy, agrees. He rides off toward the three passes, acting as the perfect unwitting decoy. And the trap springs exactly as Sixth Brother planned.
Poor Zhu Fu.
Zhu Fu gets near the border, and heavily armed patrols swarm him. They drag him off his horse, tie him up, and haul him into the military camp.
The soldiers throw Zhu Fu onto the ground in front of Sixth Brother and announce, "Commander, we caught the spy. We have Wang Qin."
Sixth Brother's reaction is explosive. He is thrilled. This is the man who has been a thorn in their side, the man who represents the corruption of the court.
He thinks he's finally got him.
Sixth Brother stands up and declares, "This traitor rose to power because of my family's sacrifices, and he constantly plots treason behind our backs. Today he falls into my net, and I will not let him go lightly."
That tension is incredible.
He orders the guards to draw their weapons. Zhu Fu is on his knees, surrounded by spears, his face turning the color of ash. He thinks he is seconds away from being butchered.
This is a moment of excruciating dramatic irony for anyone reading or listening to the story. You have all the pieces for justice right there. The good guys intercepted the warning. They laid a flawless trap. The trap worked perfectly.
The good guys had the intel. They knew a spy was coming. They laid the trap. And they caught the decoy.
And they caught the wrong guy. It drives you crazy. You want to reach into the story and yell at them that the real virus is currently riding a horse by the Yellow River.
But watch how Sixth Brother processes the realization. He walks closer, looks down at the terrified prisoner, and realizes it isn't Wang Qin. It's Zhu Fu. A lesser commander might have completely lost their temper.
Oh, easily.
They might have executed Zhu Fu anyway, just out of sheer frustration, or accused him of being a co-conspirator for letting Wang Qin escape.
Zhu Fu starts babbling, begging for his life, explaining the story about the forgotten documents and the detour.
And Sixth Brother listens, and you can see the tactical gears turning in his head. He starts to laugh, a dark, cynical laugh.
He figures it out instantly.
He says, "Who forgets their core diplomatic documents after leaving the capital?" The thief knew the wind was blowing against him and set a trap. He instantly deduces Wang Qin's route and realizes the spy has slipped the net.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what follows is a profound demonstration of Sixth Brother's character and his historical memory.
Yeah.
He orders the guards to put their weapons away. He personally unties Zhu Fu. He invites this terrified bureaucrat to sit down in his tent, pours him a cup of wine to calm his nerves, and asks him a highly specific, chilling question. He says, "Zhu Fu, do you remember the affair of Pan Renmei at Hedong?"
That question carries the weight of the entire Yang family saga. For those who aren't steeped in the lore, Pan Renmei is essentially the original architect of the Yang family's trauma.
The ultimate betrayer.
He was a corrupt, treacherous Song official who betrayed the Yang family in a previous campaign. His betrayal directly resulted in the brutal deaths of several of Sixth Brother's siblings and his own father.
It's a deep, deep scar.
Pan Renmei represents the ultimate nightmare. Loyal soldiers dying, not because the enemy was stronger, but because their own politicians stabbed them in the back.
When Sixth Brother brings up Pan Renmei to a terrified bureaucrat, he is acknowledging the generational trauma of his family. He is saying, "I know exactly what political treason looks like. I know how it destroys innocent lives. But crucially, Sixth Brother uses that trauma to inform mercy, not vengeance.
He looks at Zhu Fu and realizes this guy isn't Pan Ren Mei. He's just collateral damage.
Exactly. Sixth Brother refuses to let the paranoia of treason turn him into a monster. He knows Zhu Fu was used. He tells him, "We are old acquaintances. There is no need to be afraid." He gives him a safe place to sleep for the night and sends him on his way the next morning. It is a moment of immense political maturity. Sixth Brother breaks the cycle of misplaced violence.
It is a beautiful character moment, but strategically it means the zero-day exploit has successfully bypassed the firewall.
Yeah, the damage is done.
Wang Qin has escaped. He rides hard through his detour and finally crosses into Liao territory. He arrives at Yuzhou, the capital, walks into the throne room, and he comes face to face with Empress Xiao.
And this is where Wang Qin's incredible 18-year gamble almost ends in a very messy execution, because Empress Xiao is not experiencing the lethargy of Emperor Zhenzong.
No, she is not.
She is experiencing the pure, unadulterated rage of a survivor who just lost everything.
Wang Qin walks in, expecting to be welcomed as a vital asset. Instead, Empress Xiao sees him, and she absolutely loses her mind. She slams her hands on the desk. She screams at him. She calls him a treacherous thief.
She's furious.
She says, "I have been sitting here trying to figure out how to send assassins to the Song capital to murder you, and here you come walking through my front door."
Her rage is entirely logical. Put yourself in her position. You recruited an incredibly well-placed spy. You paid for his ascension. You waited almost 2 decades.
Right.
Then you find yourself fighting the battle of your life. Your formations are breaking, your generals are dying, you are fleeing in a cart, and during all of that, your master spy in the enemy capital does absolutely nothing to help you. No sabotage supply lines, no poison generals, no leaks troop movements.
He is the ultimate useless employee. You hire a guy to be your head of security, and while your house is burning down, he's across town drinking tea.
He represents a catastrophic failure of investment. She orders her guards to drag him out to the execution grounds immediately and hack him into 1,000 pieces to satisfy her anger.
The guards grab him. He is seconds away from being diced. But right before they drag him out the door, 2 Liao generals, Yelu Suje and Yelu Suigu, step forward and intervene.
The voices of reason.
They are the voices of cold pragmatism. They tell the Empress, "Hold on. Stop yelling for a second. Think about this. If he was a coward, he would have stayed in the Song capital where he is rich and safe. The fact that he came here into this hostile environment means he must have a plan. Let's at least hear him out. If his plan is garbage, we can always hack him to pieces in 5 minutes."
It is the ultimate high-pressure sales environment.
It is. How does someone talk their way out of an execution in 30 seconds? I mean, Wang Qin is literally a cornered salesman pitching the deal of a lifetime with a sword pressed to his throat. He has 30 seconds to deliver a pitch that completely changes the fundamental math of a war that the Liao have already technically lost.
You offer an asymmetrical solution. You offer to win the war without using an army.
Wang Qin catches his breath and lays out his masterpiece. He tells the Empress, "I couldn't act before because the Song military was too focused, too strong. The timing was wrong. But right now, their emperor is arrogant. He thinks you are entirely broken. He thinks he won. Let's use his arrogance as a weapon."
It's a brilliant pivot.
Wang Qin proposes a highly specific, devastating diplomatic trap.
He shifts the battlefield from the physical to the psychological.
He says, "Write an official letter to Emperor Zhenzong. Tell him that you are utterly defeated and that you wish to submit the maps of your 9 provinces, the ultimate symbol of surrender. But tell him that this handover is incredibly sacred. Tell him that a lowly envoy like me isn't important enough to handle it. Demand that the Song Emperor send 10 of his highest-ranking, most vital civilian ministers to 9 dragon-flying Tiger Valley to formally accept the surrender."
The brilliance of this plan lies in its target selection.
Yeah.
Wang Tin watched the Yang family obliterate the Liao army. He knows that trying to fight Yang Zongbao or Yang Sixth Brother in a conventional battle is suicide. The Song military firewall is impenetrable, so he ignores the military entirely.
He targets the bureaucrats in silk robes.
Exactly. Once those 10 ministers arrive in the valley, Wang Qin explains, you surround them with whatever forces you have left. You don't fight them, you capture them. You hold the entire core of the Song's civilian government hostage. And then you send one messenger to Emperor Zhenzong with a simple ultimatum. Divide your empire in half and give it to us, or your entire government dies today.
The emperor is too weak to let his ministers die, Wang Qin argues. He will agree. You get half the empire without fighting a single battle, and we can conquer the rest later.
This raises an important question about the nature of utility in politics. Empress Xiao's anger is entirely pragmatic. He hasn't produced results, and her forgiveness is equally pragmatic. He suddenly offers a viable plan.
Right. She just flips a switch.
Empress Xiao listens to this pitch, and her entire demeanor shifts. The rage instantly evaporates. The transactional nature of high-stakes politics is laid bare. 10 minutes ago, Wang Qin was a useless liability who needed to be executed. Now he has handed her the keys to the Song dynasty. She agrees to the plot immediately, praises his genius, has the fake surrender documents forged with the royal seals, and sends him back to the Song capital to deliver the bait.
So Wang Qian heads back, completely victorious. On the road, he conveniently bumps into Zhu Fu, who is returning from his terrifying, fruitless trip to the Three Passes. Wang Qian spins another lie, says he managed to meet with the Liao officials and secure the documents, and the two of them ride back to Bianjing together.
Returning to the scene of the crime,
They march into the imperial court, stand before Emperor Zhenzong, and Wang Qian presents the poison chalice.
this is the climax of the political tragedy. This is where the vulnerabilities we discussed earlier, the emperor's lethargy, his ego, his fear of his own generals, all coalesce into a fatal decision.
Wang Qian reports that Empress Xiao is terrified and eager to submit the Kyushu maps, but that the event requires the presence of 10 top court officials at Nine Dragon Valley to ensure the proper ceremonial gravity.
Emperor Zhenzong is presented with a scenario that requires him to send his most important government officials into enemy territory, far away from the protection of the Yang family's main armies, based entirely on the word of an enemy who just fought a brutal war against them.
Any rational leader would pause. Any rational leader would call in Yang's sixth brother and say, "Does this sound right to you? Should we trust this?"
You think so, right?
But Emperor Zhenzong doesn't ask the military. He is blinded by his own vanity. He literally had the game won, and now he's walking his top government officials right into a hostage situation.
He's ecstatic. He genuinely believes that his mere reputation has brought the fierce Liao Empire to its knees.
It's agonizing. He issues an imperial edict on the spot. He orders his top court officials to pack their bags and prepare for the journey to Nine Dragon Valley. He is enthusiastically organizing his own government's kidnapping.
It is agonizing to witness because it perfectly validates Yang Six Brother's warning from the very beginning.
When Sixth Brother begged the emperor to march on Yuzhou,
Yes, Sixth Brother understood the fundamental rule of conflict. You cannot leave a wounded predator alive because a wounded predator will use whatever tools it has left to survive.
right,
Because Emperor Zhenzong refused to secure a definitive, hard-fought military victory because he was tired, because he was afraid of his own successful generals, because he desperately wanted an easy diplomatic win, he left the door open. He allowed the Liao dynasty to survive just long enough for their 18-year sleeper agent to activate and bypass the military entirely.
the soldiers won the war, but the politicians lost the peace. The Yang family sacrificed everything. They mobilized their women and their monks. They shattered the impenetrable arrays. They waded through a sea of blood and 400,000 corpses.
And Emperor Zhenzong traded all of that hard-won absolute security for a flattering lie whispered by a traitor.
Military supremacy means absolutely nothing if the political leadership is eager to believe comfortable illusions.
It demonstrates how fragile an empire truly is. You can have the greatest generals in history, but if the core of the government is rotten with ego and complacency, the entire structure can be brought down by a single man who knows exactly which psychological buttons to push.